Hi guys, welcome to the Aftergrad podcast. This is our second episode. I'm so excited to get started. Today we're talking about writing your own syllabus. My name is Victoria.
My name's Robert Kane.
And let's get into it. So, how are you?
I'm good. I'm chilling. Just got back from Thanksgiving, spending time with fam, so that's going well. Life is good.
Yeah.
What about you?
You left. I stayed behind, and my mom and my sister actually came up to meet me here. So, you know, it was date. I think that's the appropriate word for our Thanksgiving. It was very intimate, and my whole goal for this year's Thanksgiving was just to have a zen mentality. So we rested really well. We ate really well.
Yeah, you did, because you saved me a plate. Your sister saved me a plate, and it was good. It was good.
I wouldn't know because I'm vegan. So Elizabeth, she refused to, compensate to make everything vegan. But she made some dishes for me, and thus I'm so grateful. But yeah, other than that, we all had a really great time. It was nice.
That's good. Yeah, spending time with fam, it's super important, obviously. Sometimes when you're hustling, it can be a lot. But for me, I know it was great seeing my mom, great seeing my dad. I spent Thanksgiving with my parents, and then also my aunt also came over for dinner. And so hadn't really seen them in a minute. And so it was nice being able to reconnect with them. I know the holiday season, sometimes it can bring up traumatic emotions every now and then, and so it can be a lot.
Those are still there.
They were there, but it's also good to just go in periods and spurts and dip back out and leave. So I was only there back home in Arkansas for a week, and that's honestly all the amount of time I needed to spend there.
The 4 days was enough for me.
Right. Okay, it was just 4 days for you, right?
Just enough.
Yeah.
I don't think any longer would have been too much. Any less would have been too little much of time, but you mentioned to me earlier before this rolling that, sometimes stepping away and then getting back to ground one, like centering yourself after seeing family, there's a little bit of a process there as well. And so once they left, it was kind of like a reminder as to what I'm here for,
right, and
what I need to do. It probably was stemmed from trauma, but
right. That's what family is sometimes. I mean, there's a lot of pressure to please them. I think that's me speaking personally. There's the pressure to provide for them, and whenever you return, you kind of are reminded of where you come from. There's good aspects and bad aspects to that. And I know for me, a lot of the reasons that motivate me to work hard and to succeed is to one day be able to provide for my mom and for my dad in the way that they provided for me. And so it's certainly bittersweet. And there's also other emotions that are coupled with returning to Arkansas for me.
Returning and being grown and returning.
Right, because there's a difference.
There's a difference. Because you also realize there's this want or desire to be this perfect fam. And it's hold on, we're not gonna...
That's not a thing a lot of times.
There's a little bit of a... I don't know. I felt showy in a way. This is supposed to be perfect, everything's supposed to be right. I was kind of getting that drift from my mom, but...
in terms of how Thanksgiving needed to happen, in terms of how you and your sister needed to behave or experience DC together because they hadn't been here before, so there were a lot of plans that were made together.
I mean, America does an amazing job showing us on what Thanksgiving is supposed to look like, and unfortunately a majority of America doesn't actually look like, a big table, a beautiful home, and a lot of food on the table. So and also being black, we're not here sitting down eating for the pilgrims.
No, ever. Yeah, you were talking to me about a tweet. I'm sure everyone saw that tweet about black people don't care about no pilgrims. There's cultural reasons as to why we get together every Thanksgiving. We're not worried about the whitewashed version of Thanksgiving. That's not what we're getting together to spend time with family for. There's other reasons as to why we do that. And so
But sometimes family will try to emulate that picture.
Of course.
So
I remind mine. I'll say that to my dad.
No. We'll say we ain't perfect. And
we're not perfect.
I'm not here trying to really, do the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us just want to sleep.
We want to sleep. We want to relax. We kind of just want to be, too, just to exist. There's a lot that goes into preparing the food. It's good food. I love eating it. But in terms of the planning and all of the get-togethers, sometimes the holiday season is just the perfect chance to rest and to recalibrate so that you can come back ready for what's next in life.
Right.
But in terms of holiday stuff, though, going back to how we're feeling after returning from the holiday season and things like that, I want to check in. I want to see how you're doing. There's this thing that I did with my resident assistant supervisor when I was back at university, and it's called percentage presence. And at the start of every meeting, we would basically check in with each other. All of the resident assistants as well as the supervisors would give a percentage from 0 to 100 on how they're feeling. And for us, we mainly did it collectively. There wasn't anything that kind of segmented it, but I want you to think about how you're feeling mentally, emotionally, and physically. And if you could rate those from 0 to 100.
0 to 100. Yeah. Alright. Emotionally, I'm not gonna start with emotionally. I'm gonna start with physically. Physically, I feel like
we've been going to the gym.
We've been going
to the gym. Although we skipped yesterday, but
I skipped yesterday, but I've been showing up for myself damn near every day, and I'm pretty proud of that. And I'm not going to try to shy away from that. So I'm going to say physically I'm feeling really good. I'm about 85, 90? 85, 90, yeah. And it's not only about just feeling good, but I'm also pushing myself. I think, I never want to just be like, okay, I think I'm where I want to be. Like, I was an athlete, and so that mentality of just like pushing your body even further to do something cool or something dope has not gone away. So I have new goals. I want to be able to do the splits. So I'm on on that journey. I just feel good. I feel really good. I feel in the moment with my physical being. What's the other one?
Emotional and mentally.
Mentally I feel good as well. I'm gonna give it a 90. I've worked really hard on meditating in the morning and in the evening, and then doing a long walk, and putting those three together, I just really, anything that like kind of comes my way, I'm able to see it come in slowly and take it in and reflect on it and like move forward as well. So my pace is steady. It's not fast, it's not slow, and I'm just trusting that, and with a lot of trust in that, you get a lot of peace. So I'm gonna have to say a 90 for that. Emotion is always up and down. Lord have mercy. Right. I'm gonna give it a 70.
Okay.
But it's pretty happy a lot of the time. I'm gonna give it a solid 70. But we're human. Sometimes something happens and it triggers something that's deeper than that we even know, and
it might be lingering there too.
I can't afford. What is it, counseling?
Yeah, therapy, can't afford it right now.
It's a solid 7.
Right, solid 7. Or maybe you can't afford it, you just don't want to cough up the money for it right now.
I don't want to cough up the money right now.
You're prioritizing elsewhere right now.
Moment. Yeah, I'm just going to keep doing the home remedies.
Yeah.
Meantime.
That's what we got.
Yeah. What about you? So you have the 3. Physically, emotionally, and mentally.
Like you, I was also an athlete and still working out. We're going to the gym 5 days out of the week normally. And so, honestly, there's a picture of me that I took in Prague. I'm shirtless. It's black and white. It was taken by one of my photographer friends when I was in Prague studying abroad.
Uh-huh.
And that picture is honestly just a reminder of where I want to be physically.
Yeah.
And I think that I'm getting back to that point. I'm really, really close. I'm chiseled in that picture. Six-pack is there.
This.
You've seen it. It's on IG. If you haven't, check it out.
Yep.
It's there. But for me, just in terms of my peak physical performance, I feel like that's where I was at the top. And I feel like I'm very close. Please.
I love that you're following a photo of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so many people, they're trying to reach a goal of another person or like another picture, and I'm like, why are you chasing something that is not even you? Like, right. I love that. Anyway, continue.
I appreciate that. I think that's important.
That's beautiful.
And
like, your goal should be yourself.
And even though I'm talking about a picture of me, I do definitely look at other people's bodies. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm trying to get there too.
Right, but in your own
in my own personal journey, I'm reflecting on an image of myself. Mm-hmm. And so For me, physical, I'm gonna give it a 93%. I'm gonna give it a 93.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm not gonna do like 90, 95, like somewhere in the middle there. 93%.
93.
So it's really up there.
I like it.
Very happy with the body right now. So mentally and emotional, I think they kind of go hand in hand a little bit. And so mentally, I'm going to focus on how I'm doing professionally with work. A while ago, I was working full time and I made a choice to leave that position. And I loved the people I was working with. I loved the work that I was doing, but something in me told me that there was something else I should be doing. And I'm sitting here doing it right now. And for that, I'm definitely going to give mental a 90%.
Ooh, that is so
because I feel like I'm living
beautiful.
out or getting closer to the vision that I really want for myself.
Yeah.
I'm beginning to freelance a little bit more. Clients are starting to reach out a little bit, and that's just such a heartwarming feeling for me because after I graduated, it didn't feel as though that reality would be so close by, but here it is. It's coming forward full circle. And so 93 for physical, 90 for mental. Emotional, girl, that'd be a different story. We just got back from Thanksgiving. Holidays for me aren't always the most uplifting of times. And so I think I'm going to give that category a 75%. Okay. I think my emotions, I'm also a Pisces. I feel like we're very emotional. I feel everything, not just my emotions, the emotions of other people, the emotions of the people that I'm interacting with. And so I'm constantly just on a wave of emotions. And from day to day, sometimes I might not know how I'm going to feel, but 75% is where I'm at with that. From seeing family, from locking into some personal projects with you, and then on the side as well. Yeah. And all of that makes me really happy and excited for where I'm at in this season of my life.
That's a great average of numbers.
I think so.
Especially for, again, this aftergrad moment. I think it can always be better, of course. Right. But, like, I'm pretty proud of our numbers.
I'm proud of our numbers too. Yeah. That speaks to just how we're doing right now and where we're at. I think everything was above a 50. Everything was above a 75.
We passed.
And so we passed.
Are you guys passing?
Yeah.
So check in with yourself, you know, are you? If not, talk it out with someone, you know, don't internalize it as well. And
if you don't have someone to talk it out with in the moment, maybe journaling. Journaling's not for me necessarily, but you journal.
Yeah, I can attest to that because I sometimes my friends are probably like, girl.
You journaling every day.
But, sometimes I was about to say sometimes I am private, but I'm actually extremely private. So a lot of the times I am private, and even when I go to people, I still don't feel resolved. So journaling for me is just it's an outlet that I go to at least once a week to really configure out my thoughts because I am an extreme overthinker. And then I don't even want to put that on other people. So if, you know, I can also relate to someone who just doesn't want to seem selfish. It's not a selfish thing, though, to talk to someone. But sometimes you feel that way. And journaling is just a space where I can be as selfish, quotes, air quotes, as I want in terms of figuring things out.
It sounds like journaling for you is an emotional outlet.
Yeah.
And it's a way that you can kind of, you said you're extremely private, but that journal is also another layer of that private space. The journal is kind of a way for you to flesh out what's happening in your mind.
Yeah.
And it's a safe space. I think we talk about creating safe spaces with other human beings, but for you it sounds like journaling is your own personal safe space for your emotions to confide in.
Yeah. So, and it kind of, this is a perfect leeway into what we're talking about today, writing your own story.
And what that looks like.
Yeah.
It's different for every person.
Really is.
We both went to small liberal arts colleges, right? And one thing I was thinking about as we were drafting this topic is how we both had to find ways at these universities that didn't really cater to our interests. I know you talk about your fashion interests. For me, it was media and photography. Some of the classes that I was taking, they didn't really necessarily cater to what I was interested in the moment. And so thinking about how I wanted to live professionally afterwards, a lot of what I was doing throughout university was kind of cultivating my own academic and professional experience through various internships, through studying abroad, through speaking with people that didn't necessarily attend my university, just to create a more of a creative environment for myself, because I felt like it wasn't always available to myself at university. What did that look like for you?
I want to ask one question before we get into that. Did you already know your story? Did you feel like you already knew what was meant for you when you were younger? Let's just go back before college.
Yeah.
Did you already feel like you knew, really?
Not at all. Okay. No.
You just had like a direction, and then as you went into college, it was like creative? I know you mentioned science.
Yeah, no, that's literally what I was about to talk about. I was going to talk about my interest in science. I think for me, I wanted to be a doctor. That's what I saw for myself. I was good at science. And to this day, science is the thing that kind of just clicks in my head when I'm thinking about it. Concepts that are pertaining to biology and chemistry, that always just made total sense to me. But for whatever reason, internally, that just didn't feel like what I needed to be doing, what I needed to spend time on. I think that speaks to how sometimes you might be good at something, but that might not necessarily be what you're called to do. Right. And for me, that was a dialogue internally that I had with myself, that's really cool, and that'll always be there if I'm ever interested in having conversations about it, or speaking about speaking to other people about that topic. But professionally, on my journey, that's not what I think I was called to do. I feel as though there was something else, and for me, it's media, photography more specifically.
When did media hit the scene in your mind?
The summer right before university.
Okay.
Right, so after I graduated high school.
Was it an event? Was it a moment? A feeling?
Have you heard of this girl, Shameless Maya?
Yeah.
You have? Okay, so she was really pivotal for me. Her journey.
Purple hair, short?
She had purple hair at one point.
Yeah, like
kind of short.
She cut it.
Black and Filipino.
Yeah. She cut it short, right?
She did. Yeah, she did all types of hairstyles.
I followed her because I wanted to cut my hair too.
Oh, okay.
And I did.
Did you? Okay, I was about to ask. Did you do it? What color did you dye it?
I did a lot of different colors. I did green at one point. I did a blonde. I was very... I'm still going to go short. Like, I know for sure that was not a phase. I just decided to grow my hair out, but eventually, very soon, I'm cutting this off.
I believe it. I'm about to cut my hair too. It's been growing out a little bit. I'm not going to give you all the details yet, but we got a new hairstyle coming. I've had this hairstyle for the past 5 years, I think, so I'm a little nervous about cutting it all off.
For the Aftergrad moment.
For the Aftergrad moment, yeah, it's appropriate, I think. So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, maturing. For me, my hair, I hated my hair actually growing up. Yeah, I just, for whatever reason, just didn't vibe with it. I didn't like it. I guess I felt like it just didn't suit me, the hairstyles, and because I didn't feel like my hair suited me at the time, I wouldn't take care of it. But after I got this kind of faux hawk look, I just felt so in my skin, and for whatever reason,
something you've been with for a long time.
Been with it since senior year of high school.
Wow.
Yeah, and I feel like senior year of high school was a pivotal moment for me in terms of just my confidence journey. I really just, again, locked in to my power and stepped into my skin. I felt like for the longest time I was living an out-of-body experience. The self-esteem wasn't there, the confidence wasn't there, the assuredness wasn't there. But for me, a component of it was the hairstyle, and I just felt really cool with the new hair.
Yeah.
And it felt like me, and I've had this hairstyle for all of college, but now I'm an Aftergrad, and I'm ready to switch it up a little bit. But yeah, going back to like Shameless Maya, she just really influenced me. I stumbled upon her YouTube channel and just went down a rabbit hole, was just consuming her content, and I just love what she stands for, just promoting yourself, being shameless about what you want for your life, and that message resonated with me. And after you graduate high school, that can be a time where you're being very self-reflective, introspective, trying to decide, what do I want to do in college? What do I want to major in? What does my life need to look like? And for me, that's when I said, okay, I have things to say. I have something personal that I think I can bring to the world. And I felt as though media and creativity and art was a possibility that I could use to share that. And so that's really what led to me deciding to I guess you could say, write my professional story.
Even in the midst of you thinking that you wanted to be a doctor at one point, did you have like little creative outlets shit on the side younger?
Younger for sure. Yeah, I used to draw. I used to draw and I used to paint. I was really into Dragon Ball Z growing up, and a lot of the characters that I would draw and comics that I would draw kind of mimicked that style. The Naruto, another anime show, Dragon Ball Z, another anime show. Yeah. My art at the time mimicked that style because that's what I was consuming in that moment. And so definitely I think when I reflect, art and media, that's really what my younger self felt as though I should be doing. I took a break for a little bit, and I don't know why that was, but I then later realized that no, I think your younger self might have had something, might have known what you really needed to be doing. Yeah. And so I just trusted it, and I'm so grateful that I did. And I know a lot of people who are pursuing medical school, and power to them. We need good doctors who are invested, and I love that.
And it's for them.
It's for them. And I can't wait to see what they do and the lives that they save.
Yeah, I'm going to harp on that, the trust part, in finding it's maybe not even writing your story, it's like finding your story or refinding it. Because sometimes I'm a believer that we already know from day one who we're supposed to be, but like society changes us, and then people make us doubt. There's so many factors in which when we're growing up that can alter and shift your mind to think a certain way, and so many customs and, you know, the stereotypes, yada yada. I can go on, but it was similar for me in it was like finding pieces and then trusting it. I had these visions of like what I'm doing, where I am, who I'm working with, and they were big visions, like big dreams, and I didn't think fashion could get me to that vision I had in my head. It just didn't seem logistically right. So now I'm just figuring out to see how it's going to turn out. But so therefore I avoided fashion. I let that piece of me go. Again, back at being an athlete, you don't get many moments to dress up. You don't really get many moments to put a fit together. I didn't have sneakers. My sneakers were like the new Adidas that could slide across clay courts, that was the only time I really expressed, but it was in the incremental moments because the parts I loved about tennis were telling that I loved fashion.
Right, you wanted a cute fit, you wanted a bag.
I wanted the Lululemon, I wanted the new part, like, I really loved the orientation of a fit. Just in the Wimbledon, like, I loved seeing the white dresses. That's the stuff that ignited me, and I was like, oh my god, I cannot wait. Ice skating, I would watch the Olympics, and it was the fits. I was always just focused on their fits, and so that was, and then there was one moment I was invited to like a party, and it was a tennis party, but it was like our one chance to dress up, and I was so excited. I was like, yes. I had so much fun putting the fit together, and then like there was like a lot of significant people in the room, and they were like, whoa, what are you wearing? Like, they thought it was couture, but I just like did a remix on the dress. That was a huge moment, and this was right before committing to a school, that I was like,
that's what you need to be doing.
I guess I kind of do have maybe a little something for fashion, and maybe I should, but again, I still put it aside. But that was a moment where like I was like, maybe I can do something, because in that room I got to meet a lot of people who were in the fashion industry who were doing amazing things and were living out the visions that I hope to, live out for myself.
So you put it to the side when you were searching for colleges because you said that you were looking for.
It wasn't priority, but it was kind of like undergirded. I was like, I see you, I recognize you,
right?
But just wait.
It'll come out when it needs to come out.
Maybe I'm still not gonna put you on the front yet. I'm just gonna follow Mandarin right now, and business. Because business made sense to me. It was like logistically right. My dad is a businessman, and I like stuck to the side growing up, specifically in construction. And so, like, I know that lingo, that terminology, working with contractors, just that whole business side. So that was kind of built in me from just being around my dad. And so I was like, I'm good at business. I love numbers. I love, trade. I love a good negotiation. Yeah. Like, and I love winning.
Who doesn't?
Right. So I followed those two, and I was like, and business seems logistically right to get to the dreams I have for myself. So I followed business and Mandarin going into school, and I was like, fashion, you might just be a hobby that I found a little bit later in my years, and we're just gonna have to see it through. But going into school, Now, right, they didn't, like you were saying, they didn't really have a fashion program because I wasn't even looking for it in the first place.
Yeah.
So it was a liberal arts school. They really, they're about the fundamentals.
Right, the theory. They're trying to make sure you're learning for the sake of learning.
Rounded person.
Discussion. Lots of discussion and seminar courses where you're just talking about concepts, not necessarily actively practicing what you hope to be doing.
And then, like, back then, like, the hit lingo to, like, get people who didn't have who didn't see themselves fitting at the school because of a program that was missed, they would say, "Oh, you can tailor things to you, or you can create your own major."
They always give that to you. They give you those two sentences. It's available to you.
Yeah,
we
like
promise.
you
There's
can
a wide
create
range.
your own. But boy,
it ain't there.
I wouldn't try to air quote create my own.
Yeah. And I created my own. I felt as though I did, but it's difficult. I was running around campus like a chicken with my head cut. Let me tell you, get all these signatures and stuff. Right, to have a major approved for yourself.
It's not that deep. It
ain't worth it.
So I really came in like, I'm going to be a triple major with fashion in there. No, I said, again, I'm going to have to put her to the back burner because right now, but it was great.
Even though you put it to the back burner though, were there moments where you still were living out that dream for fashion?
Yes, so this is what I'm proud to say is I didn't ignore her. It's a her. Fashion is a her.
Yeah.
In my head.
Period.
I didn't ignore her. I still, anything I did, if I could find some way or some angle of fitting fashion into what I was doing, which was business, economics and finance, and East Asian studies, if I could find a way to fit fashion in there, I did. And so I think that carried me, especially in like academia sense. I did like thesis papers that was on economics and finance, but with a focus on fashion. And by doing that, I got fashion. I got to get comfortable with fashion.
Right.
I got time
you got to see how fashion intersected the
how
other
much
things
I really
you were
loved
interested
it.
in.
Yeah, and I'm here. I am. I really do love it. And so again, back to the like writing story.
Yeah.
It might not even be writing the story. It's kind of like finding the story, like
your own personal story.
Yeah. Because it was written, and now we're just refining it after going through that high school phase, going through that college phase. Right. And then like finding the pieces and remembering, thinking really hard back to it could be like the simplest moments where how you responded to something or how
what you were doing
in a little time, in a moment like that you were hiding away from your parents, or it can be in those little moments that you can get a glimpse of who you actually are.
Right.
And then you have to decide to, like you were saying, trust it and just go with it. I sometimes look at these people who are successful at such a young age. I wonder if they were following and trusting at such a younger age,
Right.
And like therefore we're just seeing a result that's coming out at early stages of their lives.
And it seems like it's happening overnight, but it's simply not.
Like they really do trust their niche.
Right.
And so I found mine in college, and so that's what I'm kind of trusting. So now that and
you cultivated it on your own, because I want to get back to how you had those different interests. You were interested in Mandarin. You said you were talking about business. Those are two things that guided you. And there's fashion that's undergirding it. Relating to me, just thinking about my liberal arts education experience for media at this university, at Claremont McKenna College in Claremont, California, near Los Angeles. They have a media studies program, but it's just so heavily focused on the theoretical aspect of it. And for me, I knew that I wanted to have a program where I could actually be practicing what I wanted to be doing, which was specifically photography at the time. But there was also another interest, and that interest is marketing. And I knew that those two worlds sometimes overlap, but not necessarily always. They have some similarities. And so throughout, there was also another interest of data, which we talked about in the first episode. And those, when you talk about photography, marketing, and data, they don't seem like they align. They don't seem like they have an intersection. But you were talking about your thesis paper. You were talking about some of the extracurriculars. I definitely remember moments in my experience at university where I actively had to tailor assignments that were given to me to the portfolio that I wanted to build for myself.
That one.
It said, okay, maybe for one of my data science classes, I had to analyze a data set. I made sure that data set came from like an e-commerce marketing brand. And that way it would be me gaining experience in what I wanted to be doing later down the road after graduating while still fulfilling that assignment. And so just always throughout the process, picking moments to bring that
with society.
Work within the bounds
Don't
that
let
are
the society
given to you.
Pressure you into something else,
right? Rather
than just make yourself maneuver in a way like, okay, I see you want me to be this way, but I have this interest and I'm going to ingrate her in.
Exactly. There's a boundary, and that boundary is the university. That's the majors that you have access to. That's the clubs that you have access to. That's the professional experience, whatever. but within those, picking and choosing what serves you and how you can still live out that younger self, if that
it's living out your younger self.
Your inner self, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And just using that, you said you had a guiding light of Mandarin, letting that guide you, and even though you get to that destination, it might not have everything that you wanted,
mm-hmm.
finding ways to tailor that thing, tailor the experience.
And by finding the one piece, you can then find more pieces. So that's kind of where we are now. I'm super grateful to where we are at this given moment, that we have a lot of pieces collected.
We do.
Amongst the two of us. And so
we
now
complement each other really well too with our interests.
Cool. And then that's a counteract of it, is like you then start to attract like-minded people. You start to attract those who are on like similar wave patterns or like on same page, and that's when you meet these dope
and when
people.
You're not honest with yourself, you can't attract those people. You simply can't.
And then you're like entertaining them, and you ain't really happy.
And you're tired. You're tired. The energy's low.
Right.
It's not authentic.
Yeah, human connection should never feel like that. The minute it does, now my tolerance level is so low.
It has to be.
I can't even perform.
We're busy. You got things to get done.
Or
yeah. And if it's then it's time to So, literally deuces. And there were certainly moments where, thinking back to undergrad, where I would be in conversation with people, professors, or people in different departments who didn't see my vision. And I think in those moments, I'm just like, okay, that's cool. You don't see the vision, but I see it. And so just hearing no, and proceeding anyway. I'm going to get this done with or without you, regardless.
Yeah, I'm laughing because that was another thing. You then have to get confidence in those pieces that you find of yourself.
Right. That society is affirming and validating.
Yeah, because again, like I didn't believe fashion could get me there. So going into those offices and pitching my ideas for these theses, that like I think maybe I can do a fashion angle. That was hard for me. That was very nerve-wracking.
It can be intimidating.
Yeah, it was very intense trying to explain. I'm laughing because I couldn't even get my words together yet, because I still didn't clearly know, but I knew a couple things and I just was following them, right? So now I'm at a place where I can confidently say, okay, it's fashion, it's business, and it's Mandarin, right? But there was a time where I didn't. But when you come out confidently about it, then people can see you. They can see you for who you are, and like that's when more people also started to help me and guide me to figure out the unknown story that I was trying to write.
Because if you're not honest with what you want for yourself professionally, personally, then the people who are also interested in that and who can maybe send you a lending hand, they don't know that that's what you're actually interested in. And so they can't assist you on your journey.
And you don't wake up one day and like write this story that isn't you and like be like, oh, dang.
I wasted all that time.
And I'm not happy.
Yeah.
That's a nightmare for me.
That's the biggest fear.
Just waking up and doing something every day that is not meant for me.
Yeah.
Whew, that's a lot. That's heavy.
It's heavy, especially when you have people depending on you, when you're not just working for yourself solely. Yeah. You have family members, you have siblings, you have whoever else is connected to your journey, or whoever else you're working for, whatever that looks like for you.
Exactly.
And so there's that pressure, I guess, good and bad. It motivates you, but you're not just working out here. You don't want to just waste the moment.
Right. So after now
living,
found most of our story, it's still changing.
It's still changing.
Like currently, always, every time I read an article, I'm like, oh, that's something I can add. That's something that can make me, and it's this process, and now I can believe. I used to not believe in the term everyone is unique. I used to be like, that is for the birds. No, there's how can everyone be so unique? I fully believe in that, just from experiences, from constantly refining ourselves, and having various, like, an array of niches and likings, like you were saying, like the data, the science, the photography, all of those are very, like, some people would think, oh my god, that's all over the place. No. That's what makes you unique.
Exactly.
And bring something to the table and bring in a different angle that is going to be super vital for a company. And that is like, love that. But I forgot what I was proceeding to say. What was I proceeding to say?
I
was getting into that. So currently, we're currently always changing, right? So now I'm in this phase of refining, getting even more specific. And when I came out of college, I had my resume. I was sending it into a couple places. And this one lady was so nice. She said, I'll pass your resume over to like a council member in like the trade sector here in DC. And I was like, thank you. And she said he's actually in charge of looking at resumes and, you know, going through a pile of resumes from different college students and figuring out who is the right fit for which department. I was applying for international trade and commerce, right? I was like, okay, that's great. She gets back and he gives me a couple of feedback, and you know what he had to say?
What's that?
You're not specific. I was like, hold on, I thought I knew my story.
Yeah.
I thought I'm pretty specific. And then I looked at my resume and I caught myself, you know what I'm saying right now, like being confident in who you are and what you want to do specifically. I wasn't giving that. In my objective, I put, I kept it very vague. I said, I want to do trade. I want to, and I'm, you know, specifically in East Asia region, and I want to help facilitate transactions with investment firms. That's what I said, right? And he said that's not specific. And at first I was like, what? Like, I feel like I'm specific enough. And I can't be too specific because then I can't be, you know, versatile for all these different positions that I'm applying for.
Exactly.
But I sat down with it. I let it resonate with me a little bit longer. And I was like, he's actually right. You know, I'd rather be so spot on specific so the right position for me will come rather than putting myself out there to so many different things and like, and maybe it's not a good fit. Maybe that. So are you specific enough with yourself?
Right.
Like, again, back to that confidence in your story. I wasn't.
What you want. Yeah, but also I think there is the element of being vague, right? I
thought it would just make me more sellable, but it wasn't. I thought it would make me like, oh, so she could do this, this, and this. Right. No, it was just like, okay, now what are you good at?
What are you good at?
Yeah.
Exactly. But I guess, okay, so there's a balancing act then. Because you don't want to just pigeonhole yourself into something and limit yourself if you have all these other things.
Because we're still young, right?
We're so
like,
young,
aren't we supposed to be... Hold on.
There's so
aren't
much
we supposed to
do.
be getting experience?
Right?
Like, isn't that what y'all are telling me I need?
That's what I'm hearing. That's what I remember hearing.
And so I'm just trying to get anything right now.
Just to get my foot in the door.
Right,
so that I can learn all these other avenues that exist. And then you're telling me I need to be specific.
But again, I'm still on this journey of finding my story, finding the pieces.
Right, and you shouldn't rush it either.
Refining myself, right. And so for him that's why it was a little frustrating, because I was like, I thought I was already a pretty specific person, and then now that. So, but yeah, looking at it, I'm gonna do another round. I'm gonna make it more specific,
right.
And I'm gonna state exactly what I'm doing. But I wanted to take some time a little bit to really reside with it, and
to just live a little bit more too, right?
Just a brief period.
Yeah, just to take the feedback, sit with it, and then think it over, and then hone in on exactly it is what you want to do.
Right.
You have other things that you're working on that you weren't working on back then.
Exactly. So like, that was about 6 months ago, and we started this project. I'm starting a couple of projects. I'm starting my website. I'm on a mission to be specific. That was kind of the message I took after, you know, the first round of applying to a couple positions. I'm on this mission to be specific, but I don't know what that looks like. And
I struggle with it.
You know, since I don't know what it looks like, let me step back for a second. And sometimes stepping back is good, instead of trying to force some more specificity about yourself out. I didn't want to force it. I didn't want to force like.
I think it's too early. I think it's too early to do that. I have so many interests.
Offended.
Yeah. Offended. I think that's the right emotion sometimes to feel, because especially you just having graduated, both of us. Yeah. They told us to get the experience. You are applying and you're telling them that this is what I'm interested in, and that interest is what you're hoping will carry you through in that moment. But I can remember numerous times where. Similar situation to you, where I'm submitting the resume and it somehow backfires because of the generalization. But I also want to talk about the other perspective of having multiple talents and multiple skills, which you do, which we both do, and how that has worked for me. Specifically, talking about earlier, I was talking about my freelance opportunities that are coming in. I majored in math and I majored in media, and I also have skills in photography and marketing. And for this recent gig that I'm going to be doing a lot of fashion marketing with this AI image processing company, and they really liked my diversity, with my quantitative, qualitative, and creative skill sets. And that's a wide range of interests, but that's an example of how it can work in your favor, and sometimes being too specific might not...
On your resume, are you pretty specific? Are you saying all of that?
I do.
Or do you okay, see, maybe I'm not. So I'll let you guys know, I'll check back in. Yeah. I'm gonna take that in. I'm going to be really specific, and then maybe let them generalize me, wait for the interview moment to then be like, this is my specific niche, but I'm good because of this niche. I've developed so many different talents in these areas, yada, 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 and then I can generalize myself. So maybe it needs to be flipped.
Somehow.
Yeah. I'm gonna take that in.
And it changes from role to role, too. Okay. I think just reviewing whatever application you're applying for, whatever program, whatever job you're hoping to pursue, I think you have to switch it up and tailor it for that exact position, because it's going to vary from person to person. Yeah. You never know what type of personality is going to be sitting across from you.
Yeah, in terms of tailoring it for each position, I was doing that, but I generally kept my objective the same.
Right.
But yeah, I'm gonna take that in. So I'm in the midst of that right now, trying to get more specific in my story. Yeah. That is my current chapter. I think that was a moment that made me realize I'm not done, and it's never going to actually be done.
Right.
College was just the beginning.
Of course.
Of that. And so, what about you? How's your writing story, finding story going in this current phase?
Yeah. When I was listening to you give your answer just about the being very general, I think for me, I'm all over the place with my interests, and I know that I am, and I do want to get more specific, but I don't want to rush it. I feel there was a moment where moving here to DC, I had an opportunity to assist a photographer on a fashion shoot. It was a great opportunity, but it didn't happen, and that was really a chance for me to kind of get in, first step to doing what I see myself doing professionally in one avenue. And so that didn't happen, and so I said, okay, it just wasn't the moment, it wasn't the season for it. And I haven't really been doing a lot of photo shoots lately, but I've been working on other things. And in my head sometimes, I'm hard on myself because I know that photography is something that I see myself doing consistently, long term. But when that, I guess we can say, setback occurred, I felt pressure. I felt pressure because there was an opportunity to speed up. I wasn't moving quickly enough. Yeah. And so in writing my personal journey, I felt as though that was an obstacle, and I was just working internally, just having conversations with myself, telling myself it's okay. That's just one opportunity. There's going to be another one. There's going to be many others. And so finding the time and maintaining the commitment to the vision. And
figuring out your cadence.
Yeah.
I want to harp on that because, again, that remark was about 3 months ago when we first moved to DC that I got. Early. And so I felt that what you were saying, that pressure to, get back to him as soon as possible and respond with my specific resume, right? But in that moment, we were just moving and all that stuff. I was tired. I was really tired. So it actually kind of just faded.
And you gotta honor that sometimes. Right, you gotta honor your body when it's telling you to rest, sit down.
Right. But I really was hard on myself. I was saying, you should have already responded back to him. You should already know. You need to come, he gave you some insight. Get back to him. Right. We have to, this is fast. Yeah. No, I'm very happy that I think, I don't know. I really don't know what got me to slow down, to be honest. It must have been the move, just being sleepy, moving boxes and doing all of that. And I just decided, you know what, it's just not right now. And so, but I let the remark follow me in my mind. So when I truly say I'm just sitting with it and my cadence is slow with it, letting time to think on it, I'm going to respond with something a lot better than if I would have responded then.
Right.
Because sometimes you don't rush your story. That's where I'm trying to go with this. Don't rush it. And in the meantime, I just directed my energy towards other things like this project.
Exactly.
And my website, and I already feel like I'm coming up to that answer now. We're coming into January, and I'm like, I think I can get back with him now and rewrite that objective. And
I want that for you.
I'm excited now.
You've got lots to say. We've been busy. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And sometimes also just when you receive opportunities, or whenever, like, there's a professional opportunity, there's even as simple as someone wanting to hang out, we place pressure on ourselves to get back immediately, right? And sometimes you don't want to come across as rude, right? Because it's an opportunity that someone is extending to you. And so maybe just saying, you know what, thank you for this. Yeah. I really am interested. Asking for the time.
Maybe I should have responded.
And don't be afraid about how they might react to you asking for that time.
In college, everyone is on the same pace. You have assignments due at the exact same time, projects due at the exact same time, presentations, all report by Monday, you know? And now you get to, you know, create your own deadlines for yourself. So don't put so much pressure. It doesn't have to be, you know, sped up.
Yeah, it's a blank canvas, to be honest, and for me it's freeing, it's liberating, because there was not a lot of structure for what I actually wanted to pursue. And so now I have Instagram, I have the internet, I have people that we meet here in DC that I can use to create my own personal experience and my own personal story and narrative. And that's really, it is sometimes possible when you're in university, but it's not as accessible, at least from my experience, because there's assignments that are due. Right. There's other things that you're worried about. Maybe you're working 2 jobs. I know I was working when I was in university, and that took up a buttload of my time. And so bills, and not to say that you don't have bills now, because you're adulting, we got bills to pay, we got errands to run, and so on top of that, there's those added elements that you have to account for. And so really, time management, I think, is a big thing for myself.
But not time management in the way, like, I don't want people to think, like, oh, that means, you know, keep a binder, keep a, this time this is for this is for this. Time management in, like, I want to say emotional management.
Emotional time management.
I'm going to say that. I'm going to switch it up. Because if there's some days where I feel like I need to finish this, and this on a certain day, but I'm tired. Yeah. And that's another thing I'm having to learn with writing my own story, is letting myself rest, so that I can be productive the next day. So it's like emotional management, so that you can be your best self and put forth your best effort and get the best turnout you can for, you know, whatever you're
hoping to pursue later down the road. Because if you don't, then the output isn't going to be what you want it to be. And then you're kind of in that cycle of not being happy with the moment and not being happy with your life, with the personal outcomes. And that's not the way that you want to live the aftergrad moment. You want it to be exciting, thrilling, spontaneous at moments, and your syllabus that you write for yourself should also follow those emotional ups and downs too. And that goes with rest too.
Yeah. As we, you know, people who are in school right now, they're getting into the thick of it.
They are. It's final season.
It's final season. Do not miss that.
Not at all.
But don't compare. Really. Like, don't look. This is for people who are in school and out of school right now. I just have a question for you. Let's talk out school right now. Yeah. You know, this is Aftergrad, but do you ever look to your side and look, you know, on Instagram and think, dang, like, I actually need to be there right now? Do you look at someone else's story and, like, it kind of affects the feelings of your own?
Oh, a lot. And I guess I really hate that that's a reality for myself, but I'm getting better at it, because in the past, it was an unhealthy amount. I would be looking on Instagram, I would be looking at just other people and seeing the success. So yeah, I somewhat hate to admit that I am, or was in the past, comparing myself to other people's success, to their journey. I think I'm getting better at it now, which, props to me, very happy about that. Something that I'm working on in this aftergrad moment. And it can be a lot of pressure, I think, to see other people, especially people who are in your field. For me, that's kind of what I'm thinking about when I'm comparing myself to others. You know, I'm thinking of photographers, I'm thinking of marketers who I look at and I look up to in some sense, and see what they're doing, and I know that I can get there, and I know that I will get there, but I'm not there currently. And so going back to how building your syllabus right now, there's so many options, and with so many options, you kind of have to wonder if the choice that you're making is going to push you to that next level of success that you want for yourself. I think that there's with those opportunities, you don't see the success come immediately. And for me, that's something that I need to work on a little bit, because I need to trust the process just a little bit more. I am trusting the process, but to be more comfortable with the journey, that's what I really want to work on, so that I know that when I wake up and the projects that I'm working on, this podcast, my images, that I don't need to necessarily see the outcome. I don't need to see the likes. I don't need to see the comments. I don't need to see the praise. I just need to lock in. And that passion is there. But I have to be honest with myself and address the societal pressures, the lack of praise that kind of bites at your
or just trusting your timing.
Trusting the timing. Yeah, trusting the timing, of course, but also when I'm comparing to others and seeing how others might be receiving praise for the work that they're doing, and you in your head see yourself also doing the same work, and that praise not being reciprocated, that's another element that I somehow face and want to be honest with myself here on this podcast about that emotion that comes up. And so working on it, getting better, and for me, I think a pivotal moment just in this Aftergrad moment for myself is just leaving my internship, because that was something that I could have never seen myself doing when I was in university. You know, I very much like money and want to make sure that I can pay my bills and have an income.
Yeah.
And so quitting, that'll be another topic soon. Episode. We'll be talking about money and all the elements that come with it. But there can be that pressure, right? With making a huge decision to quit something, but also to quit a job, because there's that money. That's the pressure that I felt. And so just trusting that decision was going to allow me to do something later down the road, and it is. There's so much time that I now have to pursue other things that I was interested in. And so for me, just being happy with that, being happy that I trusted myself to make that tough decision to quit the internship, to free up some of my time so that I could continue pursuing my personal syllabus that I wanted for myself.
So in essence, even like when seeing someone else's story and they might be, you know, doing the exact same thing that you are, and it's seemingly like there's more success coming their way, you're finding confidence in the current moment that you're getting through, and the current battle, not battle necessarily, but the decisions that you're making, the little steps that you're making, like just basically having faith in your timing.
Yeah, 100%. Faith in the timing, like you were saying. Faith in the timing and trusting the process. And this isn't something that I need to work on because I'm really good about it. I love seeing other people succeed. That hypes me up. I don't want to get lost. I don't want to get lost in there trying to compare.
For sure.
Yeah. When other people succeed, I'm here to hype them up. I love it. I love it.
It's a double tap.
It's a reshare. It's all of that. Message. No issue with that.
Yeah.
It's on a whole different spectrum. It's a different type of comparison. I don't think that someone else's success is going to impede my journey. It's not stemmed from jealousy. It's just no.
I don't know. Since we were both
personal.
Since we're both tennis players, I'm gonna use this example. Like if you saw a really good player, and like how she hit a ball a certain way, or like how that down the line shot was just so good, and you're like, ooh, that's good. I want to get mine there.
I want that in my arsenal.
I need to push myself a little bit harder for this next tournament because I need to have that. Right. I think it's more coming from that angle, not from the angle of. Like, oh, she's doing good for herself. Yeah. That's boo on her. You know?
Yeah. I don't want to like this post. I don't want to share.
Let me not show that I actually think she's a dope person.
Exactly.
No. This is all uplifting here. Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Do
you have those emotions?
Oh, I like to lie to myself that I don't. Because, you know, what's cool about living in the decade of TikTok and YouTube and all that stuff is that, you know, you can be surrounded by a lot of inspirational speeches telling you to don't focus on what the other person's working on, trust what is meant for you right now. And I'm like, yeah, I need to do that. So I'm lying. So sometimes I find myself lying to myself and I'm like, oh, I'm good.
Yeah,
like,
that's that.
I'm good. But no, I have those moments. When it's quiet and I'm thinking and I'm like, I need to be a little bit more further along. I think my schedule.
Does that serve as motivation for you a little bit, do you think?
Yeah, it pushes me.
Okay, because
so to an extent, it's healthy. And again, that's where, like, when we were talking earlier about mental health, it's just in me being able to take in things slower now as they come and process it a little bit and be comfortable with that.
Yeah.
That's huge for me in finding that balance between using it as fuel to speed up and to get things done, but not using it as or not letting it be a source of toxic ways coming in, or toxic thoughts, thinking that I'm supposed to be here when I'm really here. There's a balance, because it can work for you or it can work against you.
Yeah.
And that comes down to, I really think, mental and emotional well-being. And so that's why it's very essential, guys, to
trust the timing.
Yeah, trust the timing, but being healthy so that you can, and whatever that looks like for you, so that you can feel comfortable in trusting the timing, because it can be an uncomfortable process.
Yeah.
You could be looking at other people like, yeah, I see them growing and I'm not growing, but I know that's not my timing, but I feel weird in this moment, but I'm able to
what am I doing? What am I doing to progress like they're progressing?
Yeah.
And I think the moral of the story is just being able to ask that question without feeling a detriment to yourself that you're not seeing the same success as someone else, just accepting the fact that you haven't had your moment and it's bound to come soon.
Yeah. But I think also figuring out what you need to do outside of like the things, the to-do list, right? Or like creating your story, figuring out the things you can do in the meantime to make this moment comfortable.
Yeah.
So I feel like for us, it's been, I'm going to speak for me, and then you can, but I don't want to I never like speaking for someone else. So I'm going to speak for me. It's working out. It's going on those walks. It's eating right. It's journaling. It's watching an interview. These are my versions of making this moment comfortable, so that I can enjoy this present state as I work on my story and as I wait for my moment to come. So figuring out those things as well that make you comfortable.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the comfort is a huge thing, because there's so many things that can lead to some sort of emotional discomfort. But I think for me personally, in terms of just trusting and making the process more comfortable, I think I like watching interviews. And I also like watching just TV shows, but specifically the interviews. I like watching people that I look up to and watching how they behave and how they answer questions and the wisdom that they have to give. And so I'm thinking of one person. I'm thinking of Issa Rae. Season 5 is upon us. It's almost closing the series, and so I've been watching a lot of interviews with Issa, and she really, when I'm listening to her speak, she really just brings me a lot of comfort, because I resonate a lot with her personal story, having graduated from Stanford, now creating a show that is super successful and impactful for the Black community. And so for me, having not idols, but people that inspire me, like Issa, succeeding, and me being able to watch their success and somehow participate in it by watching the show and learning from her mistakes, her successes, brings me a lot of peace on my journey. And having her not as a blueprint, but just as a person that's doing it, that's actively living their Aftergrad moment, and me being able to take pieces of her story and occasionally apply it to myself and just learn from someone who's doing it, who's out here in an industry I'm not interested in pursuing right now currently, but I see traits of her and myself, and that really just goes back to writing your own syllabus, because it's not already written. You have to do the work to find what the items on that list look like, and that's one way that I do it, and it's going well so far, and there's ups and downs to it for sure, but I'm happy with where I'm at in the moment, and I'm just gonna continue to ride this wave and see where it takes me moving forward.
I think
that's beautiful.
Yeah, look at this growth. Do y'all feel like you've grown?
Yeah.
From this conversation?
I know I have.
I did.
I've had a lot to think about, actually. After we close this out, I really do need to sit by myself for a moment and just ponder and think things over. Because
then that's the moment of gratitude. And that's I feel like that's an essential piece as well that people forget, is to look back and be thankful for yourself, or thankful for that other person, or thankful for that moment. Yeah, and I think that's what I'm feeling. I'm grateful for you.
Oh, thank you.
But yeah, that's again why we started Aftergrad.
100%.
So we can have this moment right now at the end of the episode. It's
like, that aha moment, that it's going to be okay, that we're doing exactly what we should be doing, and learning day by day what this crazy, uncertain period looks like. And it's great, again, that we have each other throughout this journey to just hype each other up, to check in with each other. And honestly, I think that's part of it too. I know we're trying to close this episode out, but then another thought came to me. And
stay with us.
Yeah, stay with us, please, because it's important. I was talking about how V and I, we've been in DC and we're hustling, we're working on ourselves, and it can be a little bit lonely. And one thing for me that I want for myself is to surround myself with a team, with a crew of creatives who are like-minded, who see big dreams for themselves. And when you move places, you're starting over. You're kind of building that syllabus. You're building your life from scratch almost. You don't really have a support network if you're moving to a place you've never been before.
I have a high with that. I like popping up in new spots.
I do too.
Like, I don't know who I am. Where you don't know who I am.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's a chance to just recreate yourself if that's what you're looking for. It's a chance to start over, meet new people. That's all beautiful, and I love each and every moment of it. But then there's that other element when you're in the thick of it. You're in the hustle. You're in the grind period. And for me, I often wonder, okay, what's everyone else doing? Yeah. Not in a sense of comparing, but just who else is out there who can join this team? Because that's what I want to build, a team.
But in the midst of COVID, we can't, the outreach is kind of limited at this time. And so that's why this channel just gives me so much joy, genuine joy, that we get to extend it through this podcast. Yeah. So we hope you enjoyed this episode of Writing Your Syllabus.
Yes, building your own life.
Out. Yeah, I hope all is going well. This is, we're coming into New Year. So maybe it's looking like a new syllabus coming up very soon, and you can agree or disagree with some of the things we said, or take in consideration as you begin your next syllabus, your new syllabus. I know it's most likely going to be a new syllabus for me. And that's another thing, is being comfortable knowing that
tossing the syllabus.
Exactly.
Being okay with writing that syllabus, building it together, and then being like, you know what, it's just not for me.
It's time for something new.
Turn it off.
Really, because I will say, with moving here, I thought that the things that were working for me in Dallas would be working for me here. And so I was struggling.
I know the girls that are tuning in at this exact moment in the video are like, wait, didn't they say write your own syllabus? And now we're saying toss that syllabus out. They're like, but we're going to get to it. Go ahead.
Just very briefly. Very briefly. I can sum this up real quick. I thought the syllabus that was working for me when I was in Dallas was going to be the thing that works for me here. I had a specific job. I was going to transfer it over. I was working on blah, 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 and I was going to continue that. I had some projects, ideas in my head that I started a little bit in Dallas, and I wanted to continue here. And moving here, the first month, I was so stuck on getting it to fit, getting it to get it right so that the story can start writing, right? And then it wasn't working. And so I had to come to that realization, and we'll harp on this more later but yeah, sometimes you gotta rewrite it. And sometimes it's not everything is for every season. Again, we have spring semester, we have fall semester, we have summer. Be okay with rewriting something and, making it for where you're at or where you're going.
Right. And it's not a setback. It's not a setback to toss it out, to realize.
In fact, that's when you find something new about yourself. That's when you find a different angle. And so tossing it too. Yeah. Write it.
Toss it.
And if it's not working, think about tossing it, because the new year is here. Right. It's upon us.
Right. But in the spirit of closing out this episode, again, thank you guys for tuning in with us. Yes. If you enjoyed this episode, definitely be sure to connect with us on Instagram at the Aftergrad Podcast.
We also have a visual version on our YouTube. There you can subscribe, like, or comment. We appreciate all the love, and we just pray you forward in your journey. And yeah.
We'll see you next time.
This is
the Aftergrad Podcast. Period.
I hope so.
That was beautiful.